Hey, it's your buddy the Rhino for Survival Skills 101. Here today to explain to you how to gouge somebody's eyes out. Thanks for volunteering. Before we start out, I want to introduce my buddy and friend, the Badger. Kind of look like a badger. Anyway, hey, I want to talk to you about one of the most important self-defense moves that you could possibly have, and that's poking someone in the eye or gouging them in the eye. A lot of you people right now are watching this video and are maybe grossed out by the very thought of having to poke somebody in the eye, but I'm going to tell you this. My instructor used to tell me that a poke in the eye is worth 1,000 words. It stops a fight immediately. And it's a great equalizer for a small guy against a big guy, because when a dude gets poked in the eye, he pretty much stops whatever he's doing, and that's the end of the fight. If you watch MMA or UFC, you see them fighting all the time, and what happens is someone gets poked in the eye and they have to stop it for 5 minutes while he sits there and cries on the ground. Well, you know what? That's exactly how it's going to be out on the street. So you need to know how to gouge someone in the eye to survive, especially if you're an older person or a person who's not that strong or has no martial arts background. Learning to poke someone in the eye can literally mean the difference between life and death. So the Badger's going to help me here, and I'm not really going to poke him in the eye because he probably likes to see. But we're going to practice some moves that we can work with each other on and get it down so that we can translate that to poking somebody in the eye out on the street. The first thing we're going to do in a self-defense situation when I'm facing an aggressor is I need to get my hands up like this. This is very important. I'm creating a shield to be able to defend myself, and now this is where the eye gouge can come in. So the first kind of eye gouge that you want to do is what we call the flick or the poke, the spears, if you will. And what you do is you take your fingers and you throw them out right at somebody's eyes. You're here and you throw them out. So if I'm off to the side, you want to throw them out like this and try to get this guy in the eye. One thing I want to tell you is when I did an article on this for a martial arts magazine a long time ago, and I did a lot of research on eye gouging. And one of the things that you need to understand is when you're poking somebody in the eye, they're not really going to go blind. But I'm going to tell you this, it really hurts to get poked in the eye. So even a flick in one eye causes both eyes to react to this, and you get a sympathetic reaction. So this eye flick, poking in the eye, is not going to create any long-lasting effects where they're going to go blind, and I'll talk about that in just a little while, a little bit more. But what it will do is it causes even maybe a scratch on the cornea or any number of things, and they can't see, and they pretty much don't want to fight anymore. So if my hands are up like this on the Badger, and I just sit there and I'm talking, hey man, I don't want to fight, bam, and I flick this guy right in the eye, and I can catch him with one eye, basically what's going to happen is both eyes are going to go down. Now typically what happens when somebody gets hit in the eye, their head's going to go back, they're going to grab their eye, and in the case of me getting poked in the eye, because I know how I'm going to react, I'll get poked in the eye, I'll go like this and then I'll turn away, and a lot of times I've taken a knee. And it's just a sympathetic reaction. I'm not even in control of it, but bam, I hit my knee and went on down. So this eye flick, that's the first thing you can do, and it always starts with keeping your hands up like this and giving them a flick. The next type of eye gouge that you can use is you can use a palm striking eye gouge. This is where you push or strike him in the nose, and as you strike him in the nose, your fingers find his eyes. So what I'm saying, if the Badger's right here, my hands are up, hey man, I don't want any trouble, I can palm strike him, and it's right here with the top of the fingers that I'm hitting him in the nose and gouging him in the eyes. If I want to palm strike him in the nose, I'll get him here. But if I want both, I need to get him right at the top of the palm and right into his eyes. So it's right here, driving those two fingers on either side right into his eyes. All right, very effective move. You don't need a lot of pressure in the eyes. You just need enough to cause a scratching or an entry into the eyes. And man, pretty soon that's all you need, and he's not thinking about fighting anymore. The last eye gouge maneuver I want you to do are the double thumbs. What you're going to do, this is when you're grappling, something where you're in close and tight, what we want to do is grab the head and take our thumbs and drive it in. This is probably the most vicious of the eye gouge. And I don't know if it's the most effective or not, but man, if you can grab a hold of a guy's head and secure and then drive those in there, they work pretty good. So let's just say the badger's got me in a bear hug. So we're right here, and I need to gouge him. I put my hands on either side of his head and drive those in to his eyes right here. So it looks like this. You're here, and you're driving that. At the same time, you could also use the palm striking method as well if you want to, whatever you're into. However, those thumbs right there, they go deep, and when you drive them in, you drive them all the way up to the digit right here. Not just to here, but all the way up. And he isn't going to like what he gets. Let's go over some ways that you can practice eye gouging without actually having to eye gouge your partner. One of the things that you're going to do is he can hold up his hands like this. And like say if I'm going to throw the spears like this and just do an eye flick, I can sit here and practice flicking his hand. Look. And then what he can do is start practicing flicking at my hands. He just practices it. All right? So again, we're just practice flicking. All right? Just trying to get my fingers somewhere in his eye. And it doesn't have to be straight. It could be a glancing kind of situation where I scrape it or straight in. All right? You can practice either one. Now when you get real good at that, and you're pretty good, you can start circling each other and coming out here. And then your hands can be down and we get like this. All right? So we're moving around and we're circling at each other. We can practice those eye flicks, all right, without having to damage somebody's eyes. It's just a great way to be able to practice and not get anybody injured. I want to go into a little bit more detail about your eyes. Your eyes are made of, I don't know what we would call it. I would call it jelly. And it's really compact like a hard-boiled egg. And it's in your eye sockets, all right? How's that for a scientific analysis of it? But what I want to say is your eye sockets are enclosed where that if you inserted a finger or a thumb, what's typically going to happen is it's not going to rupture your eyeball. There's so much mucus and everything in there that it's typically going to slide around. So literally, you could take your finger in there, and as you're engaging somebody's eye, it's going to slide around literally to the back of their eye, and you could pop somebody's eye out in that case, as opposed to driving into it and splitting it apart where blood is going to come out. So here's why I'm mentioning this. When we're talking about a safety issue, you go, oh man, you could blind somebody forever. Well, I want to say this. Typically when you get poked in the eye, your eye is very resilient. Nature has thought of this already, and it knows that your eyes are sensitive. So a lot of times what happens is things when they go in slide around your eyeball itself. And when that happens, it typically scrapes it, and that's where the pain comes in. But you're typically not going to lose your vision. And so it's a very effective thing to do to somebody, knowing full well that they probably, and I'm saying probably, aren't going to lose their vision. And I'm not going to guarantee that. But most things slide around the eyeball and not directly into it. So they're pretty safe in that situation. I did have a doctor tell me one time, though, that a poke in the eye is as painful as having childbirth. Now this doctor was a guy, so I don't know how he knew that. But he said it was very painful. And if you've ever gotten something in your eye like sand or your contact lens has gone off, you know the pain that can be involved in this. So if you are somebody that doesn't have any martial arts experience, any background, any of that, the eye gouge is the thing for you because it can literally save your life without having to do a lot of fighting or a lot of training. So please remember that because it could save your life. How to gouge somebody's eyes out. This is a really good defense for eye gouges right here, wearing your sunglasses. Anyway, this is the Badger. I'm the Rhino. Hey, if you like our channel, please subscribe to it. We really appreciate it. For Survival Skills 101, I'm the Rhino. Are you prepared to look forward?